Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Craft Eccentricity, and we're up with more from KSCRAFT today with a little twist and turn on things. Yes we are. And first of all, I want to apologise if you hear any noise and loud noise. It's because we've got all the ditch mowers out, and whenever they go by I'm going to try and pause it. But here's what we're using today. We're going back to the tag. This was the layered tag. Oh, here we go, hang on. Right, I think we might get some peace for a few minutes. So this was the layered tag that we used on Friday, and this is just the back of it. So it's just the tag that we're using and not those two layered pockets on front. I'm using this stamp set, which I hauled a couple of weeks ago, and I can link that below. We are using the bead set, and I think this was from March or May. It's one of the M's, I think, and this was KSCRAFT Zinnia die, but we're going to use it as a sunflower today. Right, so I'll just move those out of the way and show you where I've got to so far. I'm just picking up my little bits. Right, so I inked up background paper. I'll show you what I use because I'm going to be using some more. And these are the Jane Davenport, I think they're called Incredible inks. And I don't believe you can get these anymore. These were like Tuesday morning bargains. Do you remember when we used to have Tuesday morning? And the colours that I've used are tinsel, watermelon, and mermaid tail. These are really strong flowing inks, wonderful, work on their own or with water. So if you spot any, and I'm just going to pause again. Actually, I give up pausing. You have to suffer with the noise like me. You know, get them. You're likely to find them on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Etsy, anywhere like that. Or maybe people purchased them when they were cheap and never bothered to use them. I do have, I think, the complete collection, because my good friend Julie, she happy mailed me some quite a while ago. But I do love using stuff like this. Now, one of the things people are always saying to me is I don't do cute. So sometimes I do try and take some of the stuff that I've received and try to do a little bit more of a mixed media approach. Now, I fully appreciate not everyone likes that, but that's what I'm doing today. And we're going to start with the tag because I tried to be organised and oh gosh, that noise. There we go. I tried to be organised and do the tag. So that is the tag that I've just shown you. Now, all of these wavy lines are the scraps, the outer pieces that I had left from the bead dies. So I just use those as elements on here, and then a scrap of the cardstock that I inked I used as the reinforcer. So if we get a close-up of that, and all of the pattern on there is those inks and the stamp set that I've just shown you. So we've got it at the top, we've got it at the bottom, and that's what's going on. Right, I've also got my water brush. I've got this because I decided after playing, and I am going to show you my disasters because I'd never ever made paper beads before. That this was the best thing, because I did find my quilling tool, but my quilling tool, I don't even know where I'll put it again now, was just too small. You can't really use it to make a good sized bead, so I would suggest using a chopstick. Yes, use a chopstick. So we're going to use one of those. I've got my paint pen, I've got my stamp block, and I've got my archival ink. Now, because I've already completed that, what I haven't done is the zinnia, and I've cut 3 of them, but I'm not sure that I'm going to use all 3 in the finish, because what I want to do is kind of go off edge, if you know what I mean, and cut it. So it's going to be a little bit random. So let's move that out of the way. So I'm totally losing my train of thought listening to the blades of mowers going around. Right, so I'm going to bring one of these onto here. This is Walmart watercolor cardstock, and yes, you absolutely need it. So the first thing I want to do is get some water down on here. Now, I don't know if my brush is clean. I haven't tested it. There you go. There was a slight amount of pink, and I'm just going to push water out, and I'm going to show you how I do one, and then I'll do the other two, even though I'm not sure that I'm going to be using them. But you can always use them on other things, bits and pieces. So I'm hoping anyway that when I do finish this, it looks like a sunflower, not a zinnia. And if you look on KSCRAFT's page, you'll see that the zinnia isn't used flat. It's actually, you know, it's crunched up to look like a zinnia. So I'm using tinsel garlands. This is quite a strong colour, so I'm only going in with one drop. Now, it's entirely up to you what colour you're going to do your sunflower, but I thought that in the middle, just dripping down there, would be quite nice. And I think it is, because I'm going to be going in with a yellow watercolour pen as well. So I'm just reaching behind me and getting my old trusty dryer. I've had this for, I don't know, it must be 20 years now. It has to be. It's a Ranger heat gun, and I'm not even sure if you can still get them. It does pack a punch. It gives out a lot of heat, but it's quite quiet. And you'll notice it's a lot quieter than all that mowing going on out there. But I think it's quite necessary, because we could have a really bad storm come through next week. So I'm going to try it that way. Now don't worry about paper curling or anything like that, because it will flatten itself out eventually. Right. One essential element I forgot was my kitchen paper, so I'm just going to pause and grab some. Right, and hopefully it's going to be a little bit quieter now. So I'm going in here with Tombow. This is quite a bright and dark orange, but because I'm rubbing it out, this is 985. They don't do them by actual colour. It's going to be a little bit watery, so I'm going to squirt my Walmart gun here, my little water gun, because I don't want it to be a super dark shade. Just want it to be enough to be yellow, if you know what I mean, without being overpowering. Now you might not be able to see that, but I can, and I am going to pick this up in a second, and we're going to need to dry this one again. This might be quite a long video today, and if you need to pause it and come back tomorrow, do that, because I'm at the doctor on Tuesday and I won't be back until Wednesday. So hopefully this video will give you something to watch for a couple of days while I'm missing in action. So we've still got those lovely brown streaky drips going on, and now that I've got that paler shade down, I'm going to try a little bit darker just around those edges. So just scribble a bit more, and this time don't introduce so much water to it. That's if you're using your Tombow markers. So I'm just coming off those bits there. Don't worry about, you know, neat or tidy or anything like that. So I'm popping that in, and I think for the other ones I'm just going to colour those in the tinsel so that they're just dark, and then I've got my colour one on top. Need a little bit more of a scribble there. just go in on a silicone mat and scrub these out. You can buy, you know, specific mats for scrubbing out your Tombos, but you don't need to spend that amount of money doing stuff. So I'm just building my colour up, and I'm leaving it pale on the edges because I am going to go in and I'm going to ink the edges, so it looks very watercolory and splattered, and I hope that you can see that okay. Right, I'm capping off my water brush and I'm just going to get this bit up here, and you need to make sure now that you dry it thoroughly. So what I'll do is I'll just pause because I'm sure you don't want to see this waved around in front of the camera for a few seconds. Okay, so I dried that, and while I was away I did two other ones using that tinsel colour. So that one I went a bit darker, and this one I used a lot more water and sprayed it so that the darkest one, if I use all three, will go right to the back, and then the one that we've got the yellow in will go to the top. And you've got to remember this is going to be chopped up, so we're going to be, you know, working with bits of it, so to speak. But with this one, which is now dry, I'm going to pop that down there and we're going to stamp. So I'm just grabbing my stamp set. I've got my little mini black archival here, and I've got my stamp block. So we're going to put some pattern on there that I just want to be able to tie it in to what we've done. So I'm going to go with that grid stamp again, because that I think is going to cover a couple of leaves at a time. I really do like this stamp set. And I'm trying to think. I think it's like Globland on AliExpress is where I got it from, because I do like their stamps. You tend to get 4 or 5 sets for $10, which I think is a bargain with free shipping. And you can just choose the elements that you want to use. Right, so I don't want it to look uniform, if you know what I mean. So I'm taking random elements and doing that, and then I'm wondering how much ink's left on there. If if in doubt, just re-ink it. You can always clean the mess up. And then I think I'm going to go like that on those, so that we've got some randomness going on. Don't worry about it sitting in the mess on your mat, because it's going to be glued flat, so not really going to see it. So we just want to try and get all of them looking a little bit different to each other. So I'll go in. Ooh, let's have a look at this. Let's see what happens when we do this. That's alright, there's only a little bit on that one. And then I just need to ink up a little bit to do that last one. So I'm just going to tuck those up out of the way while I just go down there, right on the edge. So now we've got some inkiness going on top of our sunflower. Just going to move that out of the way. I'm just going to quickly pause for a minute while I tidy up my mess, because we're going to pop this onto our tag and then we're going to do the beads, and I'm going to need my mat again to do the beads. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I tidied up my mess, but I've also decided that the middle needs just a little bit of something. So I've got this splat stamp which comes in that set, and I am going to use that. So I'm just going to ink that up. Now I don't want to ink it all the way, so I'm just trying to do those center splats. Oops. Right, let's see what we get here. I just fancy a little bit of something going on. Yeah, I like that. And then just finish that. Remember, we're using archival ink so that it's waterproof, and I just want to introduce just a little bit of white. Just into some of those areas. There, I think I'll stick with that because we can get carried away. So I'm going to go with that there. So I'm just going to hold that up. So far we can go. There you go. So now we've got that done and inked, and we've got our other layers. So I'm going to move these out of the way now, and I think we should get on to rolling the beads, otherwise this is going to be an hour-long video. But I really like that. See how easy it is to do mixed media. Oh, and before I go, I'm forgetting, aren't I? We're going to ink the edges. So I'm just using regular distress ink for this, not the oxide. And the reason that I'm not using the oxide is because I want something that's a little bit more transparent, and Black Soot Distress is more black than the oxide one, which tends to kind of like throw a charcoaly grey shade, doesn't it? If you know what I mean. So anyway, what I'm doing here, I'm going to do on all of them, and I'm going to be right back. Okay, so that's done, and that is basically my mixed media style sunflower. Just a couple of stamps and a little bit of ink, Walmart watercolour cardstock, and it looks an absolute mess on the back, but you're never going to see it. So we're going to pile that up after. Right, so the beads. Now, as I was saying to you before, I have found it again. This is a quilling tool, and it's got a little slot. There you go. But it's not deep enough for the width of these, because you can only... Let's get it on first and I'll show you. It only goes down that far. Now this is quite a thick paper, and I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to use watercolour cardstock, but I did. So yeah, that's my own fault. But what I discovered is using either a toothpick or a cocktail stick is good. But what I really preferred is this one. And as I said, this is just a Chinese chopstick from the local takeaway. Now I do want to edge these before I roll them, and I'm choosing to do the smaller ones. I did cut out the bigger ones, and I'm going to show you the errors that I made doing them, and that was when I realised I should be rolling them on something a lot longer and a little bit thicker. So we'll just grab those and I'll show you. Right, I've inked those. Now even though this looks a mess, let's get in close, I quite like it. Oh, my camera's playing up. I'm going to get right in there, and then I'm going to pull back. I'm going to find the sweet spot. I know it's there. Oh dear. Now I just touch the camera. Ah, there you go. I want an absolute close-up to show you the error of my ways. You can see the little pinned curly bit. This is using the large ones, and I did put some of my glue on it, so it's a little bit shiny, but I really like it, even though that is not how it's supposed to be. There's something kind of, I don't know, a little bit wacky about it, so I'm not throwing that away. I like it. So that's there on my desk. Now then, we've done this, and the next thing you need to do is, if you're using heavy cardstock like me, is you need to be able to roll it easily, and to do that you're going to need to stretch the fibres. So just use whatever it is that you're going to curl with, and anything else, you know, I'll use this as well. Maybe not that, I'll use this. my poke tool instead, and just, you know, help yourself by putting a curve in it. That's only if you're using heavyweight cardstock. And the same with this, you know, give yourself a little bit of help. Now I'll cut the one with 2 tails because people must be thinking, what on earth? Well, actually what that does is it gives a barrel shape. And I'll show you my other one, which I didn't do right either. But do you know what I mean? I still like it though. I'm not throwing it away. I do like it. So this is what you need to do. First of all, make sure that your glue is flowing from your bottle. And it is. So that's okay. And then I'm going to move my Tombow pen and everything else that's rolling around on the table. And all you have to do is just put your chopstick right at the ends like that. You're not gluing anything yet. And you have to roll it and keep it even. That's what I've discovered. Now, I do not know the depth of thickness of this chopstick, but I'm going to show you something in a second, which made me go, ooh, I like that. So I've rolled it all the way there, and I've got this little bit here, and that's where I am going to put my glue. Now, I'm telling you this, I'm not an expert. This is my second time doing it, and I'm going to put that down, and I'm just going to roll it until I've got some nice adhesion. And I know it's not going to twang open on me because of my humidity. Yeah, do you see what I mean? And we are using a good quality glue. There's nothing bad to be said about art glitter glue. It's just my humidity. So I'm going to do it again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my finger on it for a minute and come back. Okay, so that is my first paper bead. And I'm just going to let it continue drying while I put it there. And then this one, which is supposed to make a barrel shape, and once again, I'm not an expert, but I'm going to get some glue down kind of halfway up the tail and up to the point there, and then I'm just going to cap this off. Now, I am pretty sure that once you get into the knack of doing this, that you're going to do it really, really quickly. So I just want to keep it straight. So I'm just looking down at it as I go. I'm going to keep that in there and that there. Now I'm being brave and rolling just a little bit faster. Can you see the shape on that? You've got like a barrel. Oh, I've got to get close. There we go. So you get that lovely barrel shape. Now I've got my little bit sticking up there, so I'm just going to keep rolling until I know it's nice and flat. There we go. Isn't that lovely? Oh, I do like that. Now they will just slide straight back off your chopsticks. So now I've got 2 beads that I can put and make a tassel for my tag. Now you've got nice wide openings, and that means that you can use lace. And if I go across my desk here, I've got some, and yes indeed you could put that straight through, and I think that's what I'm going to do, because I think a little bit of lace is going to add some quirkiness to it. So I'm going to use that, but first I want to put some UV resin on them to make them nice and shiny. Now UV resin can sometimes make paper quite transparent, and I'm not sure if that's going to be a desired effect or not, but I'm going to try it. I did this one and there was a little bit of ink run, but I used my jewellery glaze. Using UV resin can be a lot faster, so I'm just going to grab that and I'll be right back. Right, so I've got my UV resin, which is years old, and it's in this bottle, and I keep it wrapped in foil at all times and in a dark place. Now, if you're ever going to buy this, and I will link what I use below, it's on AliExpress and it's called UV Resin Hard. You do not want the soft type, so it always has to be the hard type. And I've also got a UV torch, which is what sets the resin. And these I think are about $2 or something. They're really cheap. Now I'm going to try and be clever, which isn't always a good idea, but I'm going to try and be clever and pop them on my stick and spread them out, and I'm going to try and drip UV resin and roll it. So if I hold those where I'm basically going to need them, I can take the cap off my UV resin, which is incredibly sticky, and I'm just going to puddle some on the mat. Now there isn't bright sunshine out here today, and because I just put so much down there, I'm going to do both beads. So I'm just letting it soak for a minute. Now the beauty of using your mat is that your UV resin torch will set it hard onto the mat. You do not want your beads touching because they will set. I'm looking to see if I've got any in the center of that bead, so I'm just going to pick that up and drip it, and that should run around it. So just turn it to make sure you've got no drips going on. And then what you should end up with are beads that look like glass. So yeah, I've got a drip going on there. Just making sure I've got some in the centre there. And I can feel that there's still free movement of those beads. And as I'm turning them, any thickness of resin, I can just see a little bit too much there. So I'm just taking that off. Right, I am going to commit. And I'm just gently turning to make sure I've got no drippy bits. While that sets on there. I mean, who knows what we're going to end up with? That's the exciting thing. And all you need to do is just make sure that it's cured. So let's test that. Right, they're still freely moving around, so I'm going to pop that one up on its edge and do the same with that one. And then I'm going to cure what's on the mat. I was just making sure I hadn't paused the video then. So I'm just curing that hard so that it will peel off, and then just making sure that anything on here is set. It only takes a couple of minutes, but sometimes, you know, it can feel a little bit tacky until it fully cures. And if you don't have a torch, you can just leave these, pop them on their sticks and stand them up in some of that, what's it called, that floristry foam, in a little dish, and put them in the sunshine on your windowsill or something, and they will set within 20 minutes. Right, I'm going to go for that and see what I've got. I'm hoping that you can see the shine. Don't worry, I'm going to get this. There you go. So that one I think looks absolutely stunning. It feels like glass. And also that one really, really shiny. So I'm going to pop that there and that one there. Now, did this set up? I want to show you this. I put this down quite thick, but you see that? It just peels up. That's all you have to do. And it is quite a greasy solution. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause, clean up my mess, and let's finish the make. Right, so let's put this tag together. There's our lovely little beads. And tip them into the light so you can see they're like little tubes of glass. This could be really addictive, so I think I'm going to start saving all my odd scraps and stuff when I watercolour, and start making some beads. Right, now this, do I want to cut it in half? No, I don't think I do. I think I'm just going to put it on there whole. Yeah, because it just reminds me of autumn. And I'm going to leave it layered up as well, so I'm just going to go in and get that bit of fluff off there and put some glue on here. And then all I'll do with this is, you know, just pop it with the stuff that I enjoy. I'll put my bead back over there. So for everyone out there that has ever, you know, said to me, I really like it, but I don't do cute. Wow. Now you know what you can do. Because dies and stamps, when you start using them together, doesn't matter what they are, they can become whatever you want them to be. They're just really versatile. And I kind of like the idea of my splash being in that direction, so I'm going to go onto there and turn that. I just want to be able to see the 3 layers, so I'm going to go there. I've got my little beads, I'm knocking those around, so I'm totally autumn on that. I mean, that's just a really big bold tag. And now I've got my piece of lace, and I'm wondering what I can use. Oh, there's a piece of twine. So I've got my piece of lace that I want to pop into here, and I want to stick my beads on. So I've got all kinds of gubbins on my desk that I could use to poke this through, but I'm thinking if I go and grab another toothpick, because I used my other one on my UV resin, so I'll just grab a toothpick and we'll make that little tassel. And I'm just thinking, you know, I'm using this, but I guess a large eye darning needle would work really well. Now I don't even know yet if that will just, you know, wiggle its way in by twisting it, but I don't really want to twist it, so ooh, well that was easy enough, wasn't it? When it stays on all on its own. Now I need to before you do this, yeah, decide how you want your bits to be. I want that on top and I want that through there, because you can always glue it into position afterwards. So I'm going on here, and then any trimming off that I want to do, I'll do that afterwards. So I've got my dangle there, and I'm going to have my other dangle here. Now I'm absolutely sure that I'm going to need my stick to poke down in here. While I'm twisting and poking, I want to thank you very much if you stuck with me. Now you can knock that off or add another bead onto that, but I just love those. Oh, look at that. Isn't that great? But I'm going to knot it, so I've got that all the way up there so that I can put a little knot down here, and that's going to stop it from falling off, I hope. Yeah, and make it nice and chunky, and then I can slide that down. I'll just do the same with this one. Just pop a knot on the end. My bamboo chopstick rolling into the picture. Slide that one down. And that is what I got for you today. Oh, I love that. It's really quirky, but it just goes to show you, with the scraps left over from those beads that I first made, I did that little bit. I chopped the top off the tag and just did it in craft cardstock, and then used another scrap for the reinforcer. Let's get close so that we've got that waviness going on up there, and then just tying it in. Use that zinnia flower as a sunflower and just do your own thing. And of course those fabulous beads. Right, as I said, I'm at the doctor tomorrow, so I will see you all on Wednesday. Do have an absolutely awesome day, and as usual, all links below. Bye.